Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the ultimate comprehensive guide on reversing insulin resistance. I want you to think of your body as this incredibly sophisticated engine. And if you're dealing with insulin resistance, well, basically, you've got a major mechanical failure happening under the hood. So, let's look at the data together and turn all this complex biology into a super clear, totally actionable roadmap for your metabolic health.
We've got a lot of ground to cover today. We're going to hit what insulin resistance actually is, the warning signs and causes, the health risks and how to get a diagnosis, the ultimate reversal playbook, and finally, your daily action plan.
All right, part one, what is insulin resistance, the biological engine? Let's look under the hood to see the exact mechanical failure happening at the cellular level.
So, to understand insulin resistance, you kind of have to understand insulin first. It's this vital hormone made by your pancreas, and it basically acts like a key. Its job? Unlocking your cells so that glucose, or sugar, can move from your bloodstream right into the cell to be burned for energy. But here's where the engine breaks down. With insulin resistance, your cells literally stop responding. The lock is totally jammed. Because the sugar can't get inside, it's just trapped floating around in your blood. And your body panics, right? It forces your pancreas to pump out even more insulin to try and force those doors open.
Let's walk through how this system fails over time. Step 1, you eat some food, and naturally, your blood sugar goes up. Step 2, your pancreas releases insulin to deal with that sugar. But bam, step 3, we hit the roadblock. Your cells completely ignore the insulin, which leads us to step 4, your pancreas goes into total overdrive, making even more insulin. And finally, step 5. Over time, this vicious cycle leaves you with chronically high insulin, high blood sugar, and your risk for type 2 diabetes absolutely skyrockets. What should just be a normal meal turns into this really dangerous biological loop.
Moving on to part two, warning signs and causes, or as I like to call it, the dashboard warning lights. Now that we know the biology, let's talk about the frustrating real-world symptoms you might actually be feeling. Here's the big one. Why do you hit a total wall of exhaustion right after lunch? If you've ever felt completely wiped out after eating, hitting that dreaded 3 p.m. food coma, that is your body flashing a massive warning light on the dashboard. This isn't just normal tiredness. This is your cells literally starving for energy because they're ignoring the insulin that's trying to deliver the fuel.
Beyond that post-lunch crash, look out for a few other clues. Excess belly fat and profound difficulty losing weight are massive indicators. You might also notice constant hunger or these intense sugar cravings that you just can't shake. A really specific physical sign to watch out for: dark, velvety patches on your skin, especially around the neck or armpits. And if you've had your blood work done recently, high triglycerides and low HDL, that's your good cholesterol, those are glaring red flags.
So what actually triggers this whole mess? Well, the root causes usually come down to a mix of things. On the diet side, high sugar intake, refined carbs like white rice, sweets, sugary drinks, and that habit of continuous frequent snacking, that keeps your insulin constantly spiked. On the lifestyle and biology front, lack of activity and carrying excess belly fat are huge drivers. But it's not just diet and exercise. Poor sleep, sky-high stress levels, and genetic factors like a family history or having PCOS all play a huge role in jamming up those cellular locks.
All right, part 3, health risks and diagnosis. Checking the engine. Let's talk about the long-term damage if we ignore these warning lights, and how your doctor can run diagnostics on your system.
If you leave this uncontrolled, insulin resistance is basically a straight line to type 2 diabetes, but it also drastically increases your risk for heart disease, fatty liver, clinical obesity, and high blood pressure. We're talking about systemic, whole-body failures that all trace back to that one initial mechanical problem of trapped glucose.
To see exactly where you stand, a doctor can run specific tests to get clear metrics on your engine. They'll check your fasting blood sugar and, crucially, your fasting insulin. They'll also run an HbA1c, which is basically a long-term average of your blood sugar over a few months. And finally, they'll pull a lipid profile to check on those triglyceride and HDL levels we just talked about.
Okay, part 4, the reversal playbook, your mechanics manual. Let's pivot to the good news and look at the exact solutions to balance this condition out and get your energy back.
This is your ultimate dietary showdown. To reverse insulin resistance, you've got to eat more protein. Think eggs, chicken, lentils. Load up on fiber from vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. And definitely bring in healthy fats like nuts, seeds, and olive oil.
Why? Because combining protein, fiber, and healthy fats in every single meal actively controls those blood sugar spikes. On the flip side, you have to aggressively cut back on sugar, sweets, and refined carbs. And honestly, perhaps the biggest game changer? Stop frequent snacking throughout the day. It literally just keeps your insulin turned on and elevated nonstop.
Now let's add movement into the mix. You don't need some radical, exhausting boot camp. Aim for strength training 3 to 4 times a week to build muscle. Muscle acts like a giant sponge for all that extra glucose. Try to walk for 30 to 45 minutes daily. But check this out. Here is a massive micro win. Just walking for 10 to 15 minutes right after your meals. The source data specifically highlights this as incredibly effective for crushing those post-meal blood sugar spikes.
12 to 14. That number is absolutely crucial. It represents the hours you should maintain an overnight fasting window. By closing the kitchen and giving your body this 12 to 14-hour break while you sleep, you allow your insulin levels to finally drop and reset. It gives your overworked pancreas a much-needed vacation.
5 to 10%. If weight is a factor for you, I want you to focus right here. You don't need to lose half your body weight to see a difference. Even a totally achievable 5 to 10% reduction in your body weight can significantly melt away that stubborn belly fat and drastically improve how sensitive your cells are to insulin. And please never underestimate rest and recovery. Poor sleep directly worsens insulin resistance, so you really need to aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality shut-eye. On top of that, chronic high stress floods your system with cortisol. And guess what? Cortisol directly spikes your blood sugar. So doing things like meditation, deep breathing, or yoga, it's not just about feeling zen. It's literally a physiological necessity to keep your blood sugar in check.
And hey, if it's required, do not hesitate to seek medical support. Your doctor might prescribe a medication like metformin to help manage things. Plus, a lot of people find huge benefits in targeted supplements. Specifically, magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin D are all noted to be fantastic for supporting your overall metabolic health.
Finally, Part 5, your daily action plan, the routine. Let's tie all these lifestyle tweaks together into a super simple, structured flow for your day. Here's exactly how achievable this reversal is when you break it down. Start your morning off with a protein-rich breakfast. That sets a nice, stable blood sugar baseline for the entire day. Come afternoon, make sure you've got a balanced meal loaded with protein and fiber. In the evening, do some light activity or maybe take that highly effective post-meal walk we talked about. And finally, at night, eat an early dinner and strictly avoid that late-night snacking so you easily hit your 12 to 14-hour fasting window. Let's do a quick recap. The absolute crucial point here is this. Insulin resistance means your body is ignoring its own signals, trapping sugar right in your blood. It's a major driver behind excess belly fat and some pretty severe metabolic diseases. But the best news of all, it can be completely balanced and reversed with the targeted lifestyle changes we've laid out today.
So now that you've got the complete mechanics manual to fixing your biological engine, the ball is entirely in your court. Which micro-win are you going to build into your routine starting tomorrow? Are you going to take that 10-minute walk after lunch? Are you finally going to cut out the midnight snacks? Pick just one small change, start there, and take your metabolic health back into your own hands. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we keep breaking down the science of your health.